All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Sunday, February 20th, 2022, and of course, we are now just a couple days away from the inaugural USFL draft, the very first one of the new USFL. Of course, it's literally right here on the screen. It's one day, 21 hours, and 47 minutes and 59 seconds now that the clock is about to turn over. So yeah, there we go. That's how long we are away. Of course, we've been kind of like lightly following the USFL news here on the channel with the team names, the coaches. We did the uniforms, the cities, all those kind of things have been slowly like leading up to this moment where we talk about, the draft day, what the rules of the draft are going to look like. It's going to be 2 days over Tuesday and Wednesday with I think the first like 12 rounds in one day, then the rest of the 35 rounds on day two. So yeah. Let's break down and look at how they're going to kind of organize this whole thing and kind of, how it all is structured. And yeah, seems pretty good. So we'll go over to here. They're going to have to obviously, they have this whole thing coming up. They have to draft their players. Each team is scheduled to contain 45 total players. 38 will be on the active roster, while 7 will remain on the practice squad. So there's 45 total with 38 active players. That said, there is a player pool of over 500. So there's 500 players the teams can choose from. They will be able to pick and choose their target during the 2022 NFL draft and build rosters full of players that were overlooked by NFL teams or starred in other defunct fledgling leagues such as the XFL and the AAF. So day one will be February 22nd. When is the draft? Obviously, it's day one is February 22nd. Tuesday, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then day two is on Wednesday, February 23rd at 10 a.m. That day. So that's a little interesting. There's not really any news that they're going to be televised. It says so far that it looks like the how to follow. It looks like it's going to be through the various USFL social teams. It doesn't look like they're going to televise the USFL draft, but they're going to have it like regularly updated on their social medias. So that's something to think about with that. So we'll cover the draft the best we can of night one. We'll just have a Twitter up and we'll just refresh it constantly when the draft is expected to start at about 7 o'clock. Or well, it says 10 o'clock here. Or does that say 7 to 10? Did I misread that? Yeah, 7 to 10. This is 7-10. So we'll cover some of that. That should be pretty interesting. How does the draft work? All right. The USFL draft is reportedly going to operate similarly to the 2019 XFL draft in that teams will pick from the same position pool in each round. So basically, round 1 will go to this position, round 2 to these positions, round 3 to these positions, round 4, so on and so forth. Kind of like the XFL did. Pretty well done. The draft will use a modified snake format to ensure that each team will receive the top choice in 2 of the specific rounds. That will ideally create competitive balance in the league. How will the rounds be broken up? Below is a breakdown of each phase of the draft. The XFL was subdivided into 6 phases, while the USFL draft is a bit more complex. Okay, interesting. So round 1, it'll go quarterbacks. So the first pick, the first quarterback and the first pick will go to the Michigan Panthers, for example. And then it'll go on and from there. So this is how this will break down. So day 1, round 1 will be quarterbacks. Rounds 2 through 4 will be edge rushers and defensive ends. Rounds 5 through 7 will be offensive tackles. Rounds 8 through 11 will be corners. Round 12 will be your other quarterbacks. So they'll pick quarterbacks again at the end of round 12. We'll go into day 2. Rounds 13 through 17 will be wide receivers. Rounds 18 through 19 will be safeties. Round 20 will be when the centers are taken. Round 21, inside linebackers. 22 through 23 is offensive guards. 24 through 26 is defensive tackles and nose tackles. 27 through 28, running backs and fullbacks. Wow, running backs go pretty late in this draft. That's pretty crazy. Outside linebackers at 29 through 31. Kickers at 32, punters at 33, tight ends and H-backs at 34, and last but not least, at round 35 will be long snappers. In total, 280 players will be selected during the inaugural USFL draft. They will fill 35 of each team's 38 roster spots. So teams will have to add 10 players after the draft. They will 3 to fill out the roster and 7 for the practice squad. So it sounds like there's going to be a supplemental draft a few days. I think it's March 10th is what I've seen. players who are graduated from high school in 2020 to be eligible for the draft. So players who just graduated high school a couple years ago will be able to, hey, 1-year college players are able to come in and get their chance to, that's interesting. So the USFL is going to have a thing where if a player feels that they could compete at a pro level and it not mess up their NFL chances, they might get a couple guys to come try this out. Maybe parlay their success into the NFL career. A few former NFL, AAF, and XFL players with recognizable names have announced that they will be joining the league. That includes running back Kevin Taylor, wide receivers Dantes Bird and Bobo Wilson, defensive tackle Toby Johnson, and linebacker Reggie Northrup II. The only name I actually recognize is this one, Reggie Northrup II. All right, below is the draft order for the first round of the 2022 USFL draft. The order will change on a round-to-round basis as the league implements an analytical modified snake system between positional rounds so that each team has two number 1 picks at 2 positions. In other words, the order will change for competitive balance purposes. But the very first day, the very first round, this is how the first round will look. And then it changes and gets all crazy. So we'll see how it plays per round after round 1. 35 rounds. We'll carry 38-man active roster and 7-man practice squad. They have how much money they're making. Okay. Let's see. According to the USFL news Twitter account, a player who spends all 10 weeks of the season on the USFL active roster will make $45,000, while a full season practice squad player will make $15,000. The players are also given victory bonuses, reportedly worth about $850 as part of their contract. Below is a weekly breakdown of what each player will make, including the $600 a week they make in training camp. Those $600 a week in training camp, practice squad you make $1,500 a week, active roster $4,500, and if you win games you get a bonus. So, all right. So that's kind of like how the rough bare bones of the draft. It's kind of sounds a little complicated, but it's not as complicated as as you were probably looking along on the screen there as we were going through it. It's not very complicated whatsoever. And then let's see what else they got. Additional rules of the draft. There's some more rules from the USFL Twitter account, so that's kind of important to consider. If this ever wants to load, I'm going to close this. Should a team let its time expire in any round without a selection, it can still choose a player, but it risks letting the team on the clock take the player it was considering. So basically, if you run out of time, you can still pick in the round, but like if another team's picking, you probably have to wait for that team to make their pick, and then you can make your pick right after, type deal. Trades between teams to achieve a different selection order or acquire a player will not be permitted, so no trades. Teams may elect to pass during any round in exchange for a compensatory pick that may be used at the conclusion of a different position round. So basically, it sounds like you can pass on a round if you've already got a position you want to, fill for that round. Say you want to add another receiver, and you want to have 2 picks in the receiver round. You can do that if you want to give up on like a tackle or an extra linebacker or safety or something. Or you can add an extra tight end later, or something like that. You just kind of got to pick inside the round and know what picks to give up. If more than one team utilizes a compensatory pick in a given round, the draft order within that position round will determine the order of 4 Okay, so basically, if 2 teams decide to do that, use a compensatory pick, so they both want to pick up an extra receiver, the draft order within that position round will so basically, say team A, say like the Panthers are drafting 2nd and the Bandits are drafting 4th, and they both use a compensatory pick, the Panthers will still pick before the Bandits in the compensatory selection picks of that round. The USFL will also conduct a 10-round supplemental draft on March 10th. I remember reading this on this to select 80 more players. So there's, those are when those extra guys will come into play on March 10th. Yeah, we kind of went over that. Round 1, quarterback, 2 defensive ends. Here's just more. Rounds 1 through 12. Tuesday, February 2nd, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Day 2, rounds 13 through 35. February 23rd at 10 a.m. to however long it takes. 280 picks in 35 rounds. That's pretty crazy. What an ambitious thing. Is there anything else? No, I think that's about it. So yeah, that's basically it for the draft news. We went over, how the rounds will be drafted, what the first round of the draft will look like. We kind of already. Oh shit! I don't think we actually went over the draft order. Hold on a minute. Yeah, the round. I don't think I actually said anything about the USFL draft order. Draft. Here we go. We'll just quickly read the draft. So the first round, it'll go the Panthers, the Bandits, the Philadelphia Stars, the New Jersey Generals, the Houston Gamblers, the Birmingham Stallions, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the New Orleans Breakers. So kind of rough for the Breakers, but it does sound like they'll pick first in a different round or like the next I don't know how it'll go, but like the Panthers do get to pick the first quarterback, so they might have the bit of an advantage there. We'll see though. I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. It sucks that it won't be on TV, and we kind of have to follow along on social medias and on just following like Fox Sports and the Panthers Twitter accounts, or the Bandits, the Gamblers, the Stars, the Breakers, the Maulers, Generals. I think I got everybody. Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, I did get everybody. All right, and the Stallions. Yeah, there we go. All right, let me know what you think. Are you excited for the draft? Is it one of those things where like I don't really care who gets on these teams? I'm not even gonna watch this crap. I know I'm gonna watch it because I like watching. I like to just watch football. Plus, like I don't know what's going on with baseball and blah blah blah. So I'm excited. We'll see how this goes out. I wonder what players will actually be able to be drafted. I wonder if we'll recognize any names. Do you recognize any of the names that were said? I only recognize Northrop II. I don't know. I'm pretty stoked. Kind of a cool idea for a draft. It's a uniquely done thing. It's going to be very similar to the XFL draft, it looks like. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you gave it a listen, consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here to help grow the channel up. It's in a bit of a dead period right now, but maybe we'll get going here as the USFL progresses, baseball gets going, training, kind of just a weird period where there isn't much going on that, to cover. So yeah, leave your thoughts down below, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff helps us get something going here. So I appreciate everyone who's sticking around and watching this stuff. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you when I see you next, probably tomorrow with another upload. I'm not really sure what we'll do for a video, but we'll have something. All right, take it easy. Peace out. Go Lions, go Tigers, go Patriots.